Everything you wish you could ask, straight up, to the point, no escape.
Okay, so who got their facts wrong?
You never get the answer if you don't ask the question.
Do you regret your involvement?
Winnipeg Direct with John Youngberg.
Welcome to our premiere episode of Winnipeg Direct, a show dedicated to informing Winnipeg and Manitoba about big issues, current events, and topics you may not hear or read about. I'm your host, John Youngberg, and joining us today is Manitoba Cabinet Minister of Entrepreneurship, Training and Trade, Peter Bjornson. Nice to have you with us. River Heights and Fort Garry City Councillor John Orlico, welcome. And City Councillor Dan Vandal from the St. Boniface Ward. Thanks again for being here. Guys, Winnipeg is not only the center of Canada, as we all know, but a very central location for all of North America, which would make one think that Manitoba is the perfect location for manufacturers of all types. I mean, we could be doing it right from here, going anywhere. However, according to Stats Canada, it's not looking so great. So I'm throwing this to you, Mr. Bjornson. In 2010, Alberta shipped out just under $60 million worth of manufactured goods. Ontario shipped out just under $250 million, yet Manitoba only produced just over $14 million worth of shipped products. In your opinion, as a province, what can we do to increase that?
Well, actually, I'd have to check that stat because we have a tremendous manufacturing sector that has been shipping out products around the globe, and we also are one of the jurisdictions in Canada that actually ships more to interprovincially than any other jurisdiction. But we have a very resilient manufacturing sector that's survived, first of all, the meteoric rise of the Canadian dollar,
right,
and our dependence on the American market, which is a $1 million per minute trade partnership that we have with the United States, Canada, and the U.S. But they're very resilient, and they've been doing a lot of innovative things to continue to find new markets, and we work with them to do that.
Okay, guys, Dan, do you agree with that?
Well, I think in terms of manufacturing, certainly the province, we work closely with the province of Manitoba, and we simply, I think the key thing for us is partnerships. I think the whole Centerport initiative is something that is in the development stages, but has great potential for increasing the manufacturing and the distribution. And as a city partner, our role is to work with the province, with the economic development agencies, to look at those clusters where there's potential for growth, and to see what the city can do to grow those clusters. And things we can do are tax credits. We have lots of land. If there's lands that's necessary for growth, we should be there. And we also are a provider of water and sewer services, which industry needs. And I know in the past we've worked with the province to put something together for New Flyer and for Schneider's, and depending where the potential for growth is, the city is going to be there. Councillor
Orlico, you on board with
this?
Yeah,
no, I share. I think Manitoba is doing quite well. I've looked through the stats, and Manitoba is, you know, we're well insulated. That's why I love this province and the city, that we have these economic upheavals, but we have a diversified economy enough, especially the agribusiness, aerospace, and bus manufacturing, that provides us a good base. And those industries are actually having a lot of spin-off industries with, you know, plastics and different types of wiring technology that are all feeding it off. And then, so they have their markets here locally, and then now we're exporting that expertise out beyond our borders. And so that's how we can grow internally and then also help produce those producers to export out as well. So I think we're doing okay.
Now you mentioned, Dan, that the New Flyer, and great developments happening out there now that we partnered up with Mitsubishi to develop the new electric bus.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the city? That is incredible. It's going to be the only place, it's not only going to be manufactured here, but it's going to be tested here in Manitoba.
It's incredibly exciting. I mean, as you know, we've started the first phase of rapid transit, bus rapid transit. It's a project that had a budget of $138 million, which was delivered on time and on budget. And we are the bus manufacturing capital of North America.
Right.
So
Yeah,
we need to again work together with the province, the private sector, to really nurture and expand and grow that sector. And you know, the province certainly has showed great leadership with that initiative, and the city of Winnipeg needs to be there to expand it.
And you know, Mitsubishi is another example of a great partnership with another multinational corporation. We've certainly looked at ways to work with multinational corporations and take advantage of the assets that we have here in Mitsubishi by virtue of the electric, Manitoba being the electric province in Western Canada. It was a good fit, and especially with New Fire Industries and the work that they do in bus manufacturing, largest in North America. But another example is partnerships we've had with Pratt & Whitney and Rolls-Royce to do the winter weather testing in Thompson. We have to take advantage of all of our assets, and cold weather happens to be an asset in this case. We have a $50 million investment in a winter weather testing facility for all the jet engines that will be manufactured by Rolls-Royce and Pratt & Whitney. So people are noticing what we can do here in Manitoba, and we certainly work with them as a government to bring them to our community and to diversify our economy and continue to grow our economy.
Now, if we can attract somebody like Mitsubishi to come into the province with a project like this, do you feel that our province is doing enough to attract more big contracts, more big business? What can the province do to establish that? Any ideas as far as bringing the bigger contracts in and whatnot, and getting jobs right here in Manitoba?
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, fight it out.
Go ahead.
I think we need to tell the Manitoba story, because it's a great success story. Maclean's magazine referred to the Manitoba miracle in one of the articles in Maclean's recently, and it talks about how diverse our economy is. And certainly we can expand on the existing assets that we have, using the technologies that we have, using the expertise we have, like the Composites Innovation Center, expand on a growing aerospace sector. We're one of the largest aerospace sectors in Canada. And certainly take that expertise and promote that expertise, and let people know what it is that makes Manitoba such a great place to do business. And we have to do a better job of that, and we're working to that end.
And it is exciting news, though, to get that.
Absolutely, and as I said before, when there's potential for growth, when there's jobs that are going to be created, tax bases are going to be enhanced, water and waste services are incredibly important. The city of Winnipeg needs to be there, and we also can provide potential land for expansion. And I know Manitoba Hydro electricity is important, so it's also setting the proper tax regime, which I believe the province and the city have done. All those things make Winnipeg attractive today and into the future.
All right, I'm going to throw this out to any one of you. The Canadian dollar has been fluctuating, as you mentioned earlier, of course, over the last few months, at times being worth more than the U.S. dollar. I just was just down in the U.S. and I was very happy, very happy. Do you think the rise of the Canadian dollar will play a role when it comes to our southern neighbors buying products from Canada? Do you think that's going to have an effect?
Well, yeah, it's going to have somewhat of an effect, but I believe that the industry and what I've read, the Canadian manufacturers, they've gone through this a few times already. So the people that were living off the 70 or 60 cent dollar, they've already gone to the wayside, and now the companies have either increased your productivity, increased your market share, or that's about it. And so the companies that are surviving, some of the really good Winnipeg companies, they've already gone through that, so they can stand their own no matter what. And they also have specific expertise knowledge that really isn't maybe dependent upon the dollar. So they have, like, again, with the aerospace, they have the specific knowledge. And that's only one thing, because it's also the cost of production. Like Manitoba and Winnipeg isn't the most expensive place to live.
No, it's not. The cost of living here is fantastic. That's why a lot of people stay here and raise families here.
You know, I do want to get the average wage of manufacturing workers up. It's still about the third lowest in the country. But, you know, they are able to support themselves and live here because the taxes aren't too high. They can still buy a home. It's getting a little tougher every time.
Sure.
But again, it's still a wonderful place to live. And I think that's where the city's role is. It comes in to provide those amenities, to provide the streets, to provide that place where people say, yeah, I do want to go work here. And then with the province's help, we can provide the training, so we have the skilled labor. We do have quite a low unemployment rate. That causes a lot of problem for manufacturers. Like, how do I get skilled labor to work here? If I can't have the labor, I'm in trouble. So again, the immigration programs have been very good for that. And the colleges, Red River's doing a great job, and we just have to keep that momentum going.
Why is our hourly wage, our minimum wage, less than other provinces? Why are we? Is it because everything's being outsourced? Is it because they know there's a supply and demand? The employers know that, and they can pretty well get an employer, or an employee rather, to work for that?
Well, actually, we've been taking steps to increase minimum wage yearly. Since
you see that in the papers.
And you know, we've seen the benefit of that in many ways because it also drives other sectors to increase their wages accordingly.
Sure.
And you know, working towards a living wage, minimum wage. certainly is something that we should aspire to. And you mentioned outsourcing. Well, the nature of the manufacturing sector that we're currently seeing in Manitoba's growth sector, for example, the aerospace sector, it's a very integrated supply chain. You don't see a factory now that manufactures a plane. You see factories all over the world that are manufacturing parts of
Parts for planes, yeah.
Right. So there are other areas that have expertise in particular manufacturing of particular products. And here in Manitoba, with the Composite Innovation Center and the work that we've been doing on composites and the inclusion of more composites as component parts for airplanes, it's becoming an area of expertise here in Manitoba. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing a variety of different mechanisms for the production of airplanes, and you're seeing some of that in other sectors as well. But you know, when you're getting back to the dollar issue, many companies took that as an opportunity to enter into a lean manufacturing exercise where they look at some of the past practices that they could enjoy with the 68-cent dollar. And they've gone through a lean manufacturing process with the help of the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters Organization and certainly with some of the assistance from the province. Now what I'm seeing when I tour many of the companies here is that many of them are taking advantage of that high Canadian dollar to acquire more equipment and technology, which is still usually purchased in American dollars. Yeah. So there are some benefits and some opportunities, but there are still some challenges that are presented by the meteoric rise of the dollar and the expectation that it will stay at that level for some time as the American economy recovers.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, no one's a fortune teller to see where the dollar is going to go. As a business owner, I mean, I'm sure that plays into it all. You agree?
The dollar going down again? No, I don't see that happening. The dollar's going to stay, you know, the resources, we're a resource-based economy. We talk about some things like we talked about the wage. Well, the biggest, highest wage is in Alberta because they're so desperate for people to go into those oil sands and to work. They pay them an astronomical amount of money. It's not the most pleasant job, but again, it's demand. So they have a huge demand there. And same thing with BC. These places in the manufacturing of the cars.
But in Alberta,
that's a long term.
But in Alberta, I mean, it's a trickle-down effect to the negative out there because I don't know how much you've been out there. Yes, they have this huge demand for workers, but there's no place to put them. You go to Edmonton, there are tent cities there because these guys and families can't find work.
And another issue.
Not work, but housing.
And that's why they flow in and out. They don't last long.
No, they don't.
No. We want people to come to Winnipeg and stay. Yeah.
Well,
we like that.
We like that. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Do you think we're doing enough?
Well, there's always room for improvement, no matter what you're talking, what sector, what you're talking about. There's always room for improvement, and if you don't think there is, then you know you need to give your head a shake. I think you got to look at the whole picture: wages, quality of life, hydroelectricity, water and waste, everything. And I think we're very well placed. We're doing very well. Potential for growth, huge growth. And there's no reason why we can't achieve that working together.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I'm John Youngberg. Thanks for joining us on our first show, Winnipeg Direct on Shaw. If you have not done it already, check us out on Facebook and tell us some ideas you may have for some upcoming topics. Thank you for watching. We're going to take a short break here on Winnipeg Direct. We'll be right back.